Be talking about the HTS system. Next, animals. Okay, small animals, whether a dog in the city or a raccoon in the country, may dart in your path. So what does this mean to you as a beginning driver? You got to cover the brake. You got to be aware because they're part of the HTS. Swerving to avoid an animal, you don't really want to swerve. We don't want to veer for the deer. We don't want to swerve because that can cause you to get into more trouble and more danger if you swerve for a deer, because you can swerve into the wrong lane of traffic. You can swerve into a ditch. You can also roll your truck. Let's talk about larger animals like deer, moose, can also cause considerable damage to your vehicle and its occupants. The number one goal when you're learning how to drive is to be safe. Safety is no accident. So when I'm teaching adults and teens how to drive, we want to talk about safe driving skills. We want you to always be aware that when you're in the driver's seat, you need to be safe. You have to be safe. You have to make good decisions. And that's extremely important that you're safe and make those good decisions. If you're unable to stop and a crash is imminent, you want to release the brake just before impact. Here's why. When you drive, your front end will go down and that animal could fly over the vehicle, through the window, go to the left, go to the right. So we're really trying to make good decisions when you're out there driving. Should you maintain braking upon impact, the bumper strikes at the lower portion of the legs and an animal will increase the likelihood of coming into the hood or the windshield. And that is extremely dangerous. So you don't want the animal coming in the hood or the windshield. So this is why we want to release the brake. Next, by scanning the road side to side, left, middle, and right, you're going to reduce some of the odds of that animal having serious contact with your vehicle. Let's look at some statistics. In 2026, 4,763 pedestrians were killed and 76,000 pedestrians were injured in traffic crashes across the United States. On average, a pedestrian is killed every 108 minutes and a pedestrian injury every 7 minutes. Older pedestrians, 65 and up, account for 18% of the fatalities. Nearly 1/5 of all traffic fatalities were under 16 years of age. So what does this mean to us as drivers and as instructors? We have to be more diligent when we're out driving. You have to take more time to search the area around you, ahead of you, behind you. If we're going to the downtown Mount Clemens Trap area, if we're going to downtown Detroit, if we're going to downtown Chicago, Illinois, downtown Houston, Texas, you have to be a defensive driver. It is critical. Let's talk about motorcycles. Motorcycles are usually better trained and more observant to follow the HTS rules, signs and signals than cyclists and pedestrians because they're specially trained. If you're trying to get your motorcycle endorsement, you got to go through extensive training. You have to take a test. You need to be about 18 years of age. It varies across the United States. When properly trained, they are more mobile and can stop more quickly. So good training is important. I'm not talking about you putting in your helmet, driving your dirt bike around in the neighborhood. This is real training, and you need to wear your helmet. Next, often they may exceed the limit of their experience. So younger motorcyclists may be going really fast, cutting in and out of traffic. This is when a fatality happens. Our older cyclists, you know better. Put on your helmet. Pay attention, especially when turning left across the path. Here's the shocking statistic. 41% of fatal crashes are when you open your door after parking. Increase the following distance of a motorcycle. So it's called during the motorcyclist or during a bicyclist. So you really have to look. Let's continue. Always leave them a full lane of traffic, especially when passing or even when they may only occupy the left or third or right of the lane. So we want to give them room. We want them to have space and time. No one wants to be crowded. Let's talk about mopeds and motorized scooters and also e-bikes. No one's talking about that, but I am. Let's start talking about it. A moped is a two-wheeled vehicle that can be driven with either a motor or pedals. E-bikes, they have an electrical motor with a battery and they have instant torque. I have to tell you a story. We had a professional development a few months ago. One of our instructors was on an e-bike. His front wheel came loose. He flipped, knocked out his teeth, and broke his collarbone. Those e-bikes are no joke. You got to be really careful with those. Now let's talk about this. With a bicyclist, you can either pedal or stop within a handbrake. Like a motorcyclist, it is powered by an engine that may not exceed 30 miles an hour. It's controlled by a throttle. Same thing on the e-bikes. They have a throttle, they have a handbrake, and because those things have instant torque, they're going to be up to speed really fast. So we see a lot more e-bike accidents. In fact, less than 30 days ago, we had a driver, wasn't one of ours, we had a driver, it really doesn't matter. They were riding their e-bike and they hit a construction truck and there was a fatality. I'm telling you this because these e-bikes are dangerous. Every city, every community, they're starting to look at laws because we have a lot of untrained people riding these e-bikes. Let's continue. Mopeds and mobility vehicles must be operated with closely as possible to the right edge of the road. They're not doing this. They're darting in and out of traffic. They're not wearing a helmet. They're in their flip-flops, white tee on. I get it. It's cool. It's fun. But it's not cool and fun when you crash. Let's hit you with another statistic. No pun intended. In 2015, 4,976 motorcyclists were killed in crashes across the United States. 88,000 were injured. 41% of fatal crashes involving automobiles turning left. So left turns are dangerous. 33% occurred at intersections. One of the most dangerous areas for beginning drivers and experienced and bicyclists and motorcyclists and e-bikeless persons are intersections. If I would be riding an e-bike, I'm wearing a helmet, I'm scanning this intersection. Because I'm an instructor, you got to stay centered in your lane, 100%. You want to stay centered, okay? You want to stay centered by looking at the edge line to the right, R-I-G-H-T, and then you want to have the broken white line or solid yellow or broken yellow. You want to be centered between the lanes, and that's really important, okay? Next, intersections are very dangerous. I mentioned that. And the vast majority, 90%, were non-interstate roads. So e-bikes are not riding on interstate roads because they can't keep up speed. You need to have, I believe it's 250 cc or better to at least get on the expressway. So we're not going to see e-bikes on there yet. Okay, let's continue. Let's talk about heavy vehicles because this is about the HTS and risk. Truck transporters nearly dominate every part of our lives. What we eat, what we wear, and what we use in our daily life. So we depend on our truckers. So let's give them praise for a moment. Thank you, truckers, for what you do. They are an essential part of the economy around the world, period. Because of the North American Free Trade Agreement, or NAFTA, Studies indicate that the transportation industry will require more than 500,000 new truckers. There's a shortage of truckers. There's a shortage of instructors because the pay isn't that great, the hours are long, there's not good training. And as of recently, there've been a lot more accidents across the country, okay? So we want to be aware of our truckers, give them room, don't slam brakes in front of them. Despite the fact that truck drivers are professional and are governed by strict rules, a logbook controlling the number of hours driving, they are under tremendous pressure, okay, to meet tight schedules and requirements. I'm under pressure too to get X number of students done per month, per year, okay? And that takes a lot of work, and it takes good preparation, and it takes self-control, and to know I don't want to chase money. My mental health is more important, okay? They may drive over long periods of time with a minimal of rest, which leads to fatigue, loss of sleep, and or inattention to the driving task. I agree. As an instructor, if I get tired, I'm not as aware, cars are pulling out, students need my assistance. So there has to be a balance. Off tracking, let's talk about this. The motion of a vehicle in a curve or turning is characterized by off-tracking phenomenon. A lot of beginners either hug the right really tight and almost go over the curb, or they go over wide to the left. We want to turn in the nearest lane. We want to be in the nearest lane. That is really important, that we are in that nearest lane, and it really sets the tone for us when we're out driving. We got to be in the nearest lane. We want to be centered. We want to have good lane line reference, and that comes from practice. So mom and dad, when I'm done with your son or daughter, you've got to practice with them. They won't improve unless you practice with them. If this is bringing you value, give this a thumbs up. This is part of the Masterclass. We're talking about the highway transportation system. We're giving you real life examples. I'm a state certified driving instructor, and I'm taking time out of my day to go live to bring you value so you can subscribe and become part of the Master Series showrunner, where I'm making videos that are 10, 20, 30 minutes long, where you could sit at home and relax and really enjoy them. And look at these videos and show them in front of your son. Show them in front of your daughter. I'm a parent just like you. I'm an instructor. I have over 24 years of experience, and I've taught over 26.3 thousand students. Let's continue. We're talking about heavy vehicles. Okay? So off tracking is when trucks turn right, vehicles turn right. We don't want to cut inside and be smashed. You want to give the truck driver room. ROOM. Let's listen. The longer the vehicle, the greater the distance between the axles, the greater amount of off tracking. Some states have triple. They have 3 trailers. In Ohio, I believe, you can have a truck driver with 3 trailers. Some states have 2. It depends on the rules. All I know is when we're driving on the expressway and I see a semi truck, I'm telling my student, get to the left lane, get out of the no zones, accelerate. There are 4 blind spots: left side, right side, front, and back. We want to stay out of the no zones. Let's continue and let's keep talking about this. All right, let's continue and keep talking about this. Next. So it's important when they're turning that we give them room. Trucks make wide turns. They want to complete their turn in the second lane, and then they'll get back to the right. So we got to give that truck driver room. ROOM. The sharper the turn, the narrower the intersection, the longer the truck, the wider the driver must go. So keep room, give them space. Let's talk about the right turn lane squeeze. Always check your turn signal on the truck before moving into the lane beside the sidewalk to the right of the truck. Not being aware of this problem can lead to being caught in the right turn lane squeeze. SQUEEZE. Sandwiched between the truck and the right curb. I saw a vehicle like that last summer. I'm like, oh my God. They were squeezed in between the truck and the curb. I said to myself, that's crazy. That's real. Okay? So we want to avoid that. Stay out of the open space. Leave the space open. Follow behind the truck, not near the truck, so not to get squeezed. Wide turns or left turns. For the same reason, off-tracking drivers of tractor trailers or buses, articulated vehicles, will often turn very wide when turning right or left at the intersection. Okay? In doing so, they will occupy the wrong side of the roadway for a short distance. DISTANCE. When approaching the intersection in these situations, you should slow down. DOWN. And be prepared to stop before the intersection. Buses. Transit bus transport passengers over fixed routes. Do not necessarily stop at every single stop because there's no one there. Don't assume they will stop. A decal on the rear of the bus reminds drivers to yield and cooperate with the bus as it moves in and out, back and forth with the flow of the traffic. What does this mean to us? Don't follow so closely on the buses. Give them room. Take your time. Give them space. SPACE. Do not perform any sudden movements or maneuvers in front of them. Passengers may be standing there in the pathway, and it might come out unexpectedly. And you know who will get blamed? You will get blamed. School buses. Because I'm an educator, I'm very sensitive to my students waiting for buses. You should know the rules. Let's explain it. Whenever you approach a stop bus with red lights flashing, whether you are approaching from the front or rear, you must stop at least 20 feet, FEET, away from the bus, and remain stopped until the signal is turned off and the bus starts moving again. Or you are signaled by the driver to proceed, but I would wait. Because we talked about this in our Masterclass last week of a bus driver telling you to proceed. And what if a kid comes out? And what if you strike that kid? Safety is the number one option. So I don't feel real good about saying, hey, let the bus driver tell you to proceed. You need to stop when approaching a school bus from the opposite direction of you do not need to stop when approaching a school bus from the opposite direction of a divided highway, because you have a divided highway, a physical barrier. Okay? However, you must slow down and watch out for children. Double solid lines, not a physical barrier. Special stops. All vehicles transporting hazardous cargo, school buses, and buses transporting passengers for hire must stop at railroad tracks. Whether or not the train is approaching is state law, and it's a national law, LAW. Be prepared to do likewise when following vehicles. Don't just cut around. Construction vehicles. Construction vehicles are also found at or near work sites. They are usually large, lumbering vehicles and often very loud. Many construction vehicles are very slow starting out because they have heavy loads to haul. The acceleration takes longer. The drivers, because of the noise, are less aware of us. To adapt to construction vehicles, don't tailgate. I see a lot of weekend drivers tailgating. Do not tailgate. Tailgate. Like large trucks, no zones. The drivers may not see you in their side mirror. Leave space. We want to keep a distance. Keep a safe distance, I just talked about that, between your vehicle and any construction vehicle. Next, let's talk about this. You got to keep your distance. You have to be centered. It's really important that you are centered, that you stay centered. That is extremely important. When a construction vehicle is behind you, check your rearview mirror more frequently. Do not stop quickly unless absolutely necessary. They require much longer braking distance. Various traffic control devices are used in road construction. This could be standard signs. This could be electronic variable message signs. This could be cones and drums. This could be barricades. This could be flashing arrow panels or flag persons. Heavy work zones must be approached with caution. Watch for flag persons directing traffic and reducing speed at the limit. Very important also. What to look for in barricades. Don't crowd the barricades. Watch for lane closure. Sometimes large flashing signs will indicate advance warning. Stay off the shoulder. I've had a lot of beginning drivers fall off the shoulder of the road. It is very scary. Turn off the distractions, the radio, your friends talking. Tell them, stop talking. I'm trying to drive. Why are you talking? It's really important that you lock in and tell them this information. It's really important that you communicate to them the importance of what you're doing. We're trying to drive. We're trying to be safe. Next, pilot vehicles. Pilot vehicles, oversized loads, escorts. A pilot vehicle proceeds with oversized vehicles for a specific distance. Drivers should be aware that the oversized vehicles or loads may pose a threat to normal traffic patterns, particularly when passing oversized vehicles. The move over law, this is going to be on your test. You have to know this. The move over law. Now regarding requiring drivers to approach an emergency vehicle, stopped or stationary, to exercise due care and caution. I've seen a lot of drivers fail their tests because of this. You need to be locking in what I'm saying. You need to be watching this. You need to be leaving comments. So you want to slow down. You want to reduce your speed. You want to approach at a safe speed. If you can change the lanes, you should. If you can't, you want to hug the left side. Don't hug the right, because we have pedestrian, we have police officers, first responders, tow truck drivers. Let's talk about the triangle. The orange sign with the 3 red, a high-risk situation, okay? Because all of us are used to driving at 55, 60, 35. And then when there's a really incredible road change, we got to slow down, okay? Construction workers, you can chime in on this, right? The possibility of misjudging speed and distance, the bottlenecks that may be created by slow-moving vehicles and road users reaching the last lane second, all of these factors increase the risk. And remember, the most important thing when we drive is safety. We don't want to take unnecessary risk. People do this all the time, but as an instructor, the safest thing that has kept me safe for over 24 years is safety. If I'm tired, I don't drive. If I have a student who's fatigued or has anxiety or nervousness, we don't drive. I talk to the parent. I involve them. Every student does not pass. I want you to know this. It's not a free pass. You don't think you just pay your money and you pass. You have to reach the examples and hit those objectives. New laws are being put in place. Driving companies have been sued because of paperwork missing, unlicensed instructors, unlicensed vehicles. Never that. I have an endorsement and the vehicle is insured. Okay, we don't play there. So it's really important that we are aware. Farm tractors and combines and other equipment move very slowly. The max speed is 25. Drivers need to be aware at highway speeds. Reduce your speed. Recreational vehicles, they are heavy, usually poor handling capabilities, allow extra space and increase your following distance. Okay? Next, drivers need to be aware at highway speeds. Ignorance is no excuse. Responsibility to roadway users. This is all of us, me included. And if you're watching this right now, you're a roadway user. Each and every individual who shares the HTS is responsible for knowing the rules and regulations that govern its operation. Ignorance is no excuse. I'm clocking the OT. As you progress from pedestrian to cyclist and now becoming a driver, and this is why you're watching this. This is why you're looking at this at home. This is why we are making this a showrunner. Because I want you to look home and say, man, this guy is giving me some knowledge. I need to lock him in. I need to subscribe. Every time you see a masterclass, I'm giving you masterclass stuff. It's going to be long. We're going to take our time. I'm going to explain it, and I'm going to give you true to life. Ignorance is no excuse. So you're progressing from a bike to a scooter to a car to a truck. You got to follow the rules and laws, just like me. I'm an instructor. If I go crazy and speed and get big tickets, I'm losing my instructor endorsement. Why would I do that? That doesn't make sense. As a driver, you have 4 basic legal responsibilities. Your physical condition, number 1. We got to stay fit. Every 2 years, I have to take a physical examination. I have to have my eyes checked. I have to have a background check. The condition of your vehicle, good tires, good brakes, no cracked windshield. You must pose a valid license for the class of vehicle that you are driving. And you must be able to satisfy the demands of the state financial responsibility, insurance, my state ID for driver's education, teach adults and teens. A lot of people make these videos. They're not real instructors. I'm a real instructor. Stop playing with me. Next, throughout, you will learn about how to utilize the HTS. I'm telling you about it. That's the Highway Transportation System. You have a legal responsibility, and it's really important that you learned that this is not a joke. A lot of people want to learn how to drive, but maybe they have poor instruction. Maybe you were too young. Maybe you timed out of the system being 18. But I read recently, more states allow people who are 18 and up to take their temporary instruction permit test online. Great job, Secretary of State. No cap. That is really important. So you don't have to leave your home. You just go on the site, you put in your information, you scan what you need, you take your test, And then I believe, and we'll do a masterclass on this, I believe you can print these documents out. So that is tremendous. Let's look at what we talked about. We have pilot vehicles. They are heavy, bigger vehicles that lead in front of construction vehicles to reduce your speed. We looked at turn off distractions, turn off the radio. Tell your mom and dad stop talking. Don't tell your mom and dad stop talking. They brought you in this world and they can take you out. Stay off the shoulder. The shoulder's soft. Once you get off the shoulder, you literally can fall off. I've had students do that. In fact, my first couple of times teaching adults and teens, they would hug the shoulder. We went down in the ditch. Pretty scary, don't you think? Yes, I was scared. Watch for lane closures. I never put my beginning adults or teens in zipper merge situations. We get over early. We don't wait till the last second because as a beginner, you're hesitant, you're nervous, you're not sure what to do. You're going to watch those barricades. We're not trying to hit any barrels, any cones. We're not trying to hit anything because that is instant failure. Some of the most common used controls, standard signs, electronic variable message signs, cones and drums. You see these all over the road and people, what do? They run them over. Barricades, flashing arrow panels, and flag persons. We owe it to ourselves to understand the HTS, the Highway Transportation System. You owe it to yourself to subscribe to this channel because I'm doing long form content, showrunner content that will teach you how to drive. I'm getting other things in place to show you how to parallel park, to show you how to go through a roundabout, to show you how to merge on the expressway, to show you how to to show you how to do reverse parallel parking, to show you how to deal with aggressive drivers. All I ask is that you give this a thumbs up, leave some comments, and subscribe. I am blessed. I want to say thank you. Have a good evening. And remember, I go live tomorrow at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. Bye.